Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
TV for ma wakwa ba ediba PENDREAM TV so na oti en kan bi ma won news bi ataho na ye di ebre ye honorable Okudzeto Ablakwah ye Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwah ye MP edima North Town I NDC card me so na the assembly to just say a state of the nation address Akufo-Addo President Akufo-Addo ebe ma of parliament no rodo rather some sema entronkwa na wanka nukra ntrega for na honorable Okudzeto Ablakwah ankasa eko mu ebe ma onwa ni state of the nation address na yanko tin sama honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwah edituja.
Doc, it's important to emphasize that this is a constitutional imperative under Article 67 of the 1992 Constitution, which provides that the President shall, at the beginning of each session of Parliament and before a dissolution of Parliament, deliver to Parliament a message on the state of the nation. From this provision of the Constitution, it is clear that the focus ought to be really annual, the year in review. And you have to, from the perspective of the president, be as factual, as accurate, and as realistic, because it's a message on the state of the nation. On the state of the nation. You should not be, if you like, illusional or creating an abstract. Concretely, you should present what is the true state of the nation. I must also emphasize, Doc, that having gone through all the messages on the state of the nation from this particular President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, it is clear to me that the House must begin to pay serious regard to what he tells us every year and how we track the deliverables, the promises that he makes, what he says he will do. And once again, I'll raise this matter which I know you are passionate about. Parliament's Assurances Committee, the Government Assurance Committee. That committee ought to be up and doing. And we must take advantage of the review of our standing orders and make that committee a committee that must be chaired by a member of the opposition at any point in time. Just like we have the Public Accounts Committee being chaired by the opposition and the subsidiary legislation. I think that it is important, it's really crucial that is done, because year after year after year, when you analyze President Akufo-Addo, it appears that he even forgets about some of the promises. He just moves on. In 2017, and I pointed to some of this during my contribution yesterday, he said, for example, that year he will bring to Parliament the Affirmative Action Bill at page 13 of the 2017 message on the State of the Nation address. He repeated it a couple of years down the lane. It hasn't been done. Interestingly, he was speaking on International Women's Day, the day he addressed us. And he's just stayed away from the matter totally. And this is a matter of utmost concern to our women, who are the majority. Our women are in the majority. We need this affirmative action bill passed. I recall that Nana Oye, the Honorable Nana Oye, had concluded work on this. The President Mahama cabinet had approved it, and it was on its way to Parliament. I don't know why it has stalled all of these years. The President said at page 8 in 2017 that he will establish multi-purpose industrial parks in all of the regions of Ghana, multi-purpose industrial parks. Nothing has been heard. Page 5, he says, I will not allow the Ghanaian economy to collapse on my watch. Then 2018, he said that he will make sure that Accra becomes the cleanest city in his first term. The president has totally forgotten about this. He's not talking about this any longer. Page 8 in 2018, he said that, Mr. Speaker, last year I made a brave assertion in this house by stating that the Takoradi to Paga Railway will be initiated. As we speak, the Takoradi to Paga Railway line has not been initiated. He repeats the affirmative action bill in 2018. You know, so I can go on and on and on, including my favorite, where in 2019, he promised the people of Nima that he would transform Nima into a well laid out residential area full of amenities, at page 9 of the 2019 message on the State of the Nation address.
That was before COVID.
You know, so you see, we need to find a way of getting the president, and I think that probably Parliament should consider presenting a template to all presidents moving forward, where at least remember what you told us the previous year and tell us what you have done about what you told us the previous year. Because you see, you now have a situation where even claims the president makes in just a year prior, those claims change. Take the road sector, for example. You remember this controversy the president generated in 2022, the 2022 State of the Nation address, where the president said, let me quote specifically, Mr. Speaker, it is the road sector that we have registered the greatest infrastructure achievement. I know that the word unprecedented is often used with careless abandon in our public discourse, but I use it carefully and purposefully. In the 5 years of my government, so far, more roads have been built, improved, and upgraded than at any other equivalent period under any government in the history of Ghana. Some 10,875 kilometers of new roads have been constructed in these 5 years. This is what the president said only last year. He said the entire history of Ghana. Then you come to page 8 of the current address, 2023. Suddenly, the president is no longer talking about the entire history. He's no longer talking about these 10,875 kilometers. He's dropped this. Now, the president is saying that and I'm looking for the paragraph, I think, yeah, the third paragraph. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to state categorically that this government has built more roads than any government in the history of the Fourth Republic. So he's now stepped down. He's talking about Fourth Republic, no longer the entire history of our country. And then he's run away from the 10,875 kilometers, even though he gives us an attachment which is very, very problematic. And I'll come to the attachment later. But you see, Doc, what is so shocking, and I would encourage you in the media to also carry out your fact-checking. What is so shocking on the road sector is that the president says, and I quote, "But Mr. Speaker, I am proud of the amount of work we have done, especially in the road sector. Roads continue to be the largest number of questions asked in this house by members of parliament. A large amount of the monies we borrow are for road construction. Shall we then stop constructing roads?" Doc, when the president made this categorical statement, we decided to do the analysis. The president stated emphatically that a large portion of the monies borrowed is used for roads. So we've done the analysis. President met the public debt at 122 billion. By November 2022, Bank of Ghana data is on the Bank of Ghana website. The president has added 453.7 billion Ghana cedis to the public debt stock. 453.7 billion. What we did was to look at all the allocations to the Roads and Highways Ministry. Of course, you have to take out ABFA, you have to take out compensation, take out goods and services. And we were even generous on two fronts. One, we even left in the taxes, tax revenues. And we also left the grants, monies that you won't pay back. You know, we're very generous with the analysis. And Doc, guess what we discovered? Only 7.3 billion Ghana cedis of the monies borrowed has gone into the road sector. That is 1.62%. 1.62%.
Less than 2%.
Less than 2%. So, who told the president to say this? And you can do your independent fact-checking. Indeed, further analysis we have done reveals that the monies borrowed, the 453.7 billion that he has borrowed as at January 2017 to November 2022, November last year, by BOG data, 432.6 billion has been spent on consumption. That is 95.35% on consumption, not on infrastructure. That is why President Mahamad's infrastructure record is still superior. President Mahama spent more on infrastructure than the current president. So why do you come to Parliament, the House of Records, and tell us that a large amount of the monies we borrow are for road construction, when you are actually doing less than 2%? It's all gone into consumption. So really, the president has to be checking his facts, and he has to be more sincere with Parliament. Then the other portion of his address, which I thought was in really bad taste, was this needless swipe at the diplomatic corps. As ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I thought that was totally unfortunate and needless. It was also, to an extent, intolerant and illogical. You see, we all know that this is because of what the German ambassador said, and that's why he launched that tirade. The question to ask is, who invited them into a national discourse? You have invited them. You have gone to see them. That, look, I have mismanaged my economy. I'm now bankrupt. I'm insolvent. You guys come to my aid. Don't only forgive me your debt, the bilateral debt, but also help me talk to China. Help me talk to the Paris Club. The German ambassador says, we are willing to help you, but you to meet us halfway. Let's see some sacrifices on your part. Reduce the number of ministers. Reduce the size of your government. What is wrong with that? I mean, you invited them. Look, I as a Pan-Africanist, I really am not comfortable with others trying to pontificate or tell us what to do. But we have to put our house in order. When you have gone to invite the people into your national affairs, and you are actively asking for assistance, asking for support, you are even at the table with them for debt restructuring. Because in the same breath, the president updated the House on the ongoing bilateral debt restructuring discussions and said that talks with the Chinese and the Paris Club are going quite well. So you have gone to invite them. And just because they are proffering advice you don't want to take, you don't like, does not mean that they have done anything untoward. Look, they will also go to their taxpayers. They will go to their citizens and say that, look, we need to assist this country. It's going to come at a cost. We can't receive monies they owe us in the shortest term. They even want some aid, even though they were talking about Ghana Beyond Aid not too long ago. So we need your support. They should be able to convince their citizens that we in Ghana are also playing our part. I insist, just like the Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Charismatic and Pentecostal Council, civil society organizations, including our party, which has issued a 3-line whip that we should not approve the new ministerial nominees, and has even suspended campaigning activity so we can focus in Parliament. I agree with all of these groups that we don't need 86 ministers. Information and communication can be merged. Railways and transport can be merged. Agric and aquaculture can be merged.
Fisheries.
Fisheries and aquaculture can be merged with agric. You have chieftaincy, can be merged with tourism. So there's so many of these ministries that can be merged. We don't need the hordes. You have, the last time I looked at the 2021 numbers, 339 political appointees at the presidency. We don't need them. So what the German ambassador said, and what many diplomats are saying behind the scenes, is not rocket science. It's a no-brainer. The president ought to listen, and he must also cut down on expenditure. A lot of the things that we are spending on must go, and those are some of the things I expected to hear in this address. Unfortunately, the president did not tell us what sacrifices they are making. In this time that you are imposing haircuts, you are denying people their life savings, their life investments, and all of that. That is excruciating pain. This is the time you should be telling us. Many Ghanaians expected that they will hear cost-cutting measures, massive reduction in the size of government from the president, so that he can point to a part of a certain collective responsibility that, look, we are burden sharing, we are all going to bear the brunt. But you want to be intact, you want your largesse to be intact, you want to continue with your profligacy, your extravagance, your ostentation, and then you expect everybody else to shut up, including the diplomatic community. And when they speak out, you are then offended. Then, Doc, there were also some fatal omissions in the address. The president was speaking in a week that the most topical issue was the killing of this soldier in Ashaman. The president really loves his title. You see, Doc, you see the, always, every year, they remind us, it's beautiful, beautifully done, you know, and I must say the picture looks good. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo, the President of the Republic and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. It should not just be about carrying the title. Show leadership as Commander-in-Chief. I expected him to commiserate with the armed forces on the killing of the soldier, and also condemn the military excesses, the brutalities meted out to the folks in Ashaman. It happened only the previous day. Now we have a situation where it is the Parliamentary Committee of Defense and Interior showing some leadership. You know, yesterday they met the military high command. I'm told they are going to Ashaman today to commiserate. They are going to visit the folks in the hospitals and all of that. And I think I've heard the Deputy Defense Minister apologize for the military excesses. The armed forces themselves have had to pull down a statement they put out earlier. You know, it's a messy situation. The president should have spoken to this, should have offered some commiserations to the family of the soldier, should have empathized with the victims of the brutalities, and most importantly, should have said that both incidents will be investigated, set up an inquiry to look into it, and to make sure that these things do not recur. I didn't see a commander-in-chief taking leadership, taking the bull by the horn, and addressing these matters very frontally. Let me also say finally, Doc, that I think that there are really some matters that can be left for probably the regional minister when he's addressing the Regional Security Council. Yes, sometimes we think that it's how long you speak. Oh, 1 hour, 20 minutes. The president has spoken. Pa, wakasa pa, afunu, really. I mean, there are some of the things, like you go to page 14, paragraph 3. You hear the president saying that now Okada riders stop at traffic lights. So it shows we are making progress.
The president said that.
Yes. Yes. And I said, for a message on the state of the nation.
They stop at traffic lights.
Yes.
He was saying that
because
there's
of
more
police visibility
presence,
but
and it has also led to
page 14. He said, I note that
adhering to traffic regulations.
I note that even motorbike riders now stop at traffic lights. Things are improving. I mean,
but I think
a message on this. We want big vision. Be bold, inspire us. Show us how you come out of this quagmire. Some of these things can be reserved for assemblymen, DCs, regional. Yeah, wow. I mean, please.
Wow.
Please.
For Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwah and a Kano MP Edima Northton Volta region. Now, in some of the two jano, a modo ye papa. Kasaba nema bibiri kasaba ska aban etwa edi gu economy no ama inflation akosoro ama dollar no any cedi ni economic tete gidiba kasaba the size of government kasaba busia bibiri ya buburo ho a ntini tua se abedan ekon ho na okeka na bibiri team for wo what bi na oni ne ya adwen ana oni ne nya adwen se mo kan ya no ano no ma ye hu wadwen kire wo comment section Pacho Oba, my who are going to remember the diatem, attend the day a home shadda here will be Wadwin Terena was a so that they are a pump to Weber or my Ghana. I have a PENDREAM TV in Pacho and first time I subscribe to channel. Found about Anuman so said that they are the video you are to over first person over share that was a P for some.
Whenever I say PENDREAM TV, PENDREAM TV, there, I see them, you